Keeping up with our motto that learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure, here we are with the remote teaching and learning process to bridge the gap. Happy learning, students. Let us continue with Chapter 10, Force and Types of Force. In the previous sessions, we have already discussed following forces: muscular force, mechanical force, gravitational force, magnetic force, and frictional force. Today, we are going to discuss the remaining two forces, that is, electrostatic force and combined force. Let us start with electrostatic force. Electrostatic. Here there are two words, electro and static. Electro means something related to the electrical charges, that is proton, electron, and static means something which is stationary or not moving. So electrostatic means something related to the static electrical charges. Electrostatics is a branch of physics that studies electric charges at rest. Some materials like rubber, plastic, ebonite, they attract lightweight particles after rubbing. Static electricity is produced on these substances due to friction. These substances become electrically charged. The force exerted by the electrically charged substance is called electrostatic force. Rubbing some materials together can result in something called a charge, that is being moved from one surface to another. There are two types of charges, the positive and the negative charge. Negative charge is called electron and the positive charge is called proton. When negative and a positive charge come near, there is a force of attraction between them. Positive and negative charge, when they are brought near, there is a force of attraction. Both of them will attract towards one another. Whereas if similar charges like two positive charge, they are brought together, then there is a force of repulsion between them. Both the charges will move away from each other. So is the case with two negative charge. When the charges are same, both the charges will repel each other. They will move away from each other. Only if the charges are opposite, that is plus and minus. There is a saying that opposite attracts. So opposite charges attracts towards one another. Let us understand this with the help of one experiment. Take a plastic comb, rub it on your dry hair. When you are rubbing a plastic comb over your dry hair, some electric charge is developed on the plastic comb. Next step is, bring this plastic comb near the surface where small pieces of paper are spread. You will see that these paper pieces are getting attracted towards the plastic comb. Let us see this. This animated picture is showing this experiment. A charged comb is picking up the small pieces of paper due to its static electricity. Here what is happening, when you are rubbing the comb over the dry hair, electrons, that is negatively charged particles, are developed on the plastic comb. These negatively charged particles attract the positive charges on the paper, due to which the paper are getting attracted, the paper pieces are getting attracted towards the plastic comb. And this force which is exerted on the paper is nothing but electrostatic force. Let us try 2 more experiments. This you can try at your home also. When an inflated balloon, it is rubbed against dry hair. The dry hair, they are getting attracted towards the balloon. You can see in this picture. It is a very simple experiment you can try at your home. Here what happens, when the inflated balloon, it is rubbed against the dry hair, electrons are generated, which will attract the protons on the dry hair, and so the hair are getting attracted towards the inflated balloon. Here in this picture you can see when an inflated balloon is rubbed against a silk cloth, and then that balloon is brought near the flow of water. You can see the flow of water is getting attracted towards the balloon and the direction is also changed. So again here it is the electrostatic force because of which the flow of the water is getting attracted towards the balloon. Now the last force is combined force. While an action is taking place, various types of forces act on the object. When a variety of forces act together, it is called combined force. Let us see with the help of one example. When an aeroplane is flying in the sky, several forces are acting on it at the same time. And when variety of forces act together, it is called a combined force. When an aeroplane takes off, it uses mechanical force and the pilot uses muscular force. So this mechanical force and muscular force together creates a lift and a thrust. Thrust means it is being pushed towards the upward direction. So because of the mechanical force and the muscular force, the lift and thrust are created, which is trying to pull the aeroplane in the upward direction. The gravitational force pulls down the aeroplane. Because of the weight of the aeroplane, the gravitational force is equal to the weight, right? So because of that, the aeroplane is being pulled down towards the earth. And finally the last one, that is drag. You can see the arrow, it is in the opposite direction to that of the motion. So this drag is created because of the frictional force, as it always opposes the motion. So this opposes the lift created by the air flowing over the wing, which is a frictional force. So here the aeroplane is moving in the forward direction, but there is a drag. There is a frictional force because of which a drag is created in the opposite direction, as the aeroplane is trying to move against the air with the help of the wings. So there are several forces acting on this aeroplane. The lift and the thrust. These forces, when it is greater than the gravitational and the dragging force, the aeroplane moves in the forward direction. Let us see one more example. Here you can see a girl riding a bicycle. Here also several forces are acting. The forward force is generated by the muscular force as well as the mechanical force. The gravitational force, again, it is acting towards the downward direction because of the weight of the bicycle and the girl. And the force of friction, it is always acting in the direction opposite to that of the motion. The combination of all the forces acting on an object is the net force. When these forces are unbalanced, this causes an object to start moving, stop moving, or change direction. Unbalanced forces acting on an object will change the object's motion. So we have seen all the 7 types of forces. So let us summarize all these forces. Muscular force, frictional force, magnetic force, electrostatic force, gravitational force, mechanical force and combined force. The first one is the muscular force. Force due to the action of muscles. Second is frictional force. Force acting opposite to the direction of motion is the force of friction. You can see the motion is in right direction and the frictional force is acting towards the left. Third one is the magnetic force. The force exerted by a magnet is called the magnetic force. Electrostatic force. Force exerted by a charged body on another charged body is called electrostatic force. Gravitational force. Attractive force exerting between the two objects, which always tries to pull the object towards the surface of the earth. Mechanical force is the force exerted by a machine. And finally, the combined force. It is the combination of various forces acting on an object, which is the net force. This is all about this chapter. Thank you so much.